Namaste and good afternoon, everyone. It feels very weird to be addressed as ma'am because a few years ago I was just in your places, learning about branding and marketing. And today I have been presented an opportunity by Mr. Mohit. Thanks to him. I'm very pleasantly surprised today to actually see a great mixture of age groups here. I see students, I see people who have had lots of years of experience in the financial sector. And it also gives us an assurance. I have been a very new person into financial services. My previous experience was in Facebook, Call Health, and Reliance. So various fields, and now I think I finally found my space in financial services. So I head the marketing and branding of KFinTech. So a lot of people, whoever here invests in stocks or any mutual funds should be very well acquainted with KFinTech. So KFinTech is a registrar. We handle the back-end operations of all the AMCs. I believe there is a speaker from Aditya Birla today. Hello, sir. So he must be very well aware of KFinTech as a registrar. So we also have operations in Southeast Asia, Malaysia, Singapore, Thailand, Philippines, and multi other countries. Also, we have our operations in US and Canada as well. So I had all the branding and communications, which also entail PR, press and media relations, internal communications, external communications, and also setting a brand for KFinTech. So branding and marketing, they very well go hand in hand together. So you really cannot draw a fine line between branding and marketing. Post-pandemic, we have seen a massive paradigm shift in how financial services operate. So earlier, if you actually have to invest in a stock or you had to invest in a mutual fund, you wanted to speak to somebody or you had to go to a branch office, invest. So you had to go physically and make a transaction. There was a lot of paper involved. But post-pandemic, even before pandemic has onset, there was a lot of change in how financial services operated. There was a lot of digital platforms that popped up, and digital transformation has begun. So when you talk about digital transformation in financial services, it majorly focuses on reshaping how you do payments. Earlier, thanks to demonetization, Paytm has gained its brand value that it has today. Demonetization has opened doors for financial payments without cash. Also lending, insurance, you have insurtech, wealth management. So all these financial services, they have seen a major paradigm shift through digital transformation. So without any further ado, let me just help you understand why do we need to develop a brand in financial services digitally? Why is digital so important? So the need to develop a digital brand in financial services. So when you talk about a brand, think about some brands like Parle-G, Amul. If you want to talk about financial brands, talk about a Zerodha, talk about a Paytm. So when you think about them, when I'm referring to them, you have their logo in your brain. You have how they communicate. You know, when you see a creative, say an ICICI Bank or a HDFC Bank, when you see a poster, a creative, you immediately can notice that it can give you a brand recall saying that, oh, this belongs to a bank, an ICICI Bank, or this is an Amul ad. So it doesn't mean that Amul, over ages, it has evolved. There were paper ads, there were just printing on paper, and they have grew from a co-op to what a brand it is today. They have stayed relevant through the time and age. So how do you create that brand recall? Have a consistency. When you talk about brand recall or creating a brand, always remember it is not creating something new every day. It is creating something that is going to stay relevant over the years. So the need to develop a brand, you also have to create a strong identity. How people connect with your brand. So these days, when we create any creatives, earlier it used to be all vector images, where people don't have faces. Today, we realized we need to create a connection. We need to create a connection between the users and the consumers. Hence, we are using a lot of people who look like Indians, who look like our next door people, right? So that is very important for us, to create that connection. And surface values. So a brand doesn't just mean colors and images. It also means what your company stands for. So when you see Paytm, let's take a quick example of Paytm. So Paytm, the name itself resonates that it is a payment channel. It is meant for doing payments. But over the ages, over years, it's been 10 years that Paytm has come into play. So over these 10 years, it started with just a simple payment app. Today, you can book tickets. You can book flight tickets. You can book any tickets. You can do payments. You can set up an auto reminder to do your payments. You have a UPI. So evolving. And also, they haven't diverted from what they have started with. It is payments. They have penetrated into the markets and have found the gap. So you don't have to go to a center, or Mi Seva center, or a Aadhaar center, whatever that is, to just make a payment. You don't have to do anything in cash. You sit at home, everything is done digitally. It is creating that convenience. So you're addressing something that was missing earlier. You're doing a business which is going to create convenience to people. And then build trust and find clear ways to communicate the brand through digital marketing. When you talk about digital marketing, I think it is the most misused and abused term in the marketing industry. Whenever I speak to people of my community, they talk about ATL, BTL. We don't do any of that, trust me. Having 12 years experience in marketing, especially digital marketing, we don't do any ATL, BTLs. This is for the kids sitting out there, because in real world, we operate in a very different fashion. Especially in financial sector, trust is something that is very important to gain and very easy to lose. From my own perspective, I believe that finance and health are two industries which are very difficult to gain the trust of investors or the people that invest in you, the consumers. So building a trust is very important when it comes to building your brand. Always make sure that you stand by your values, set your values right, and always stand by them. So when we talk about setting up values, the values have to come top down, from the management to the executive. You go to an office, let us assume an office of, could be a startup, could be a 50 team member company, or a 5,000 team company. I would like to see a company where the CEO and the executive level employees have the same values and speak the same language. That is where you are setting your own brand. And retaining and attracting customers. Well, why do we do marketing? At the end of the day, you do marketing or you do branding just to increase sales. You get your revenue. You make your company successful, right? So like Mr. Parimal was saying, when you go for a startup funding, you spend most of your budget in marketing and branding. That is only because, at the end of the day, the way, how wisely you spend your marketing budgets or your branding budgets will define your growth or the revenues of your company. Well, there may be a lot of other factors, but these play a very pivotal role. So when you say you retain or attract customers, so in a research that has been done very recently by PwC, it has been found that a business's success is very majorly related to its stronger identity of the brand, and it also gives you a heads up or a leverage over your competitors by 25%, which is not at all less. So when you talk about retaining customers, lately, so in the financial space, there's a lot of market. The competition is fierce. You look at the lending sites. Earlier, there was only, say, a Paytm or a Google Pay. But everybody is here to, outperform each other. there is a Grow, there is a Zerodha, there is a small case, there is a lot of investment, Paytm Money, there are a lot of sites which are doing the same business. Then how do you put yourself, out there? How do you stand out amongst your crowd? When everybody is doing the same thing, you need to have your own USP. So the USP comes from a lot of things. How your UI is, the way you're communicating, the way you're reaching out to your right target customers, the consumers. And if you look at, so I have, coming from the financial services sector, I just started investing 2 years ago, so I would suggest you guys, please, don't do that mistake of start investing so late. The Paytm Money app has stuck with me. I used multiple platforms like Zerodha and all those things. But though the brokerage or the charges that they cost are higher on the Paytm app, I still prefer Paytm Money because the UI is very simple. I wouldn't mind spending a premium of 5 rupees extra on every transaction or whatever they charge. But I would prefer to have a good consumer experience, the customer experience, the usability of the platform. The UI of the platform is very simple, very easy to use. So these are the factors that we need to consider while building an app or while building a channel to communicate through the right users. So the most effective marketing strategies for financial services. So I think we are broadly discussing the same thing. Consistency across channels. So when you talk about consistency, it is a cornerstone for building any successful brand. If your brand is going to look different each and every other day, today you're using blue, green, tomorrow you're using something else, and the day after you're going to introduce a new avatar, it's not going to sit well with your audience. It is not going to achieve the goal that you're looking for, a brand recognition, a brand recall. So what do you have to do? You need to have a cohesive logo, a logo that is very simple to understand, which speaks what you do. Very, very simple. So if you look at the most successful brands, well, there are some exceptions like Swiggy. I don't know what Swiggy means, but they have created a brand for themselves by building the gaps. But apps like Paytm, Google Pay, you have Pay. You know what it does. You know how these apps are going to help you in the regular way of life. So have a cohesive logo and a color scheme, which is, so I don't know how many of you are from the marketing or branding backgrounds, but every color stands for a different feeling. So when you look at red, it usually means power. It is also spoken as, anger and all that. But yellow is happy, orange is bright. And that way, every color has it creates a psychological emotion in human beings. So there is a psychology, there is a science between each and every color that is used. Blue usually is very well popularly used in financial services. Why? Because it is known for its trust. Blue color stands for trust. So whenever you look at an app or any financial services platform, majorly we use blue. We need to create that. We find that we find that urge to create that connect between our consumers. And the visibility across all the channels. Today we have multiple channels digitally to approach. We have social media, we have your website or your app or multiple channels through emails you reach out to your consumers. So all these, including even in-person interactions, they all should be very cohesive. They should speak the same language. Your touch points should align with your goals. So having a consistent communication across channels is very important to build or develop a brand. Personalized customer services. A lot of us amongst this crowd, we like personalization. We like to have our name engraved somewhere on our bags or on our pens. We like personalization. So when you mean personalization, it means that the person actually who is gifting you something cares about you. He knows about you, right? So that is a very important aspect in marketing. So personalization. So over years, the customer retention rates in banking industry have fallen drastically. The reason being, The customers always felt that there is a lack of personalization. So when you call a customer care, say you lost your credit card, you call up, it's an IVR who speaks to you. She wants if you want to press 1 or 2. And well, there is it's a debatable argument here where the Gen Z would prefer minimal human interaction, where people, the baby boomers I may call them, prefer an in-person interaction. So personalization is important. So you would want to be referred by your name. So these days, IVR also has become so smart that they call you by your name by recognizing your telephone number from the number that you're calling. Personalization in financial services are a little different. So today I invest, say, through a Paytm app. So depending on my demographics, the age, the gender, and my marital status or my number of kids, I want to be given an opportunity to explore multiple financial plans. What suits for you may not suit for me. What your pay scale is and what my pay scale is may be very different, and the risk that we want to take in our investments could be very different. So what I want to know is education. Financial education on your platforms is very important. When you talk about financial education, it also means that any new schemes that come into the market or any new investment strategies that are popular today, they're very important to be known to your investors to make your brand more visible. So personalization is very important for a customer retention. Understanding the specific customer demographics. Just like I said, the product personalization is very important. And customized investments advice. So where do you want to invest? What will give you the best returns in the 20 years down the line? What could be your best retirement options? Invest in an NPS, or you want to invest Sukanya Yojana, all of this, they're very different. So all these factors really help you retain your customers. So retain your customers with a personalization. And then comes omni-channel marketing, my favorite part of marketing. Like I said, ATL, BTL is nothing. We talk about omni-channel. Omni-channel is one of the most critical components of effective branding strategy. It also includes the channels that you reach out to. So there are SMSs, there are emails, there are social media platforms. So on a LinkedIn, you do not talk about any funny comments about your brand. You talk about serious. You talk about proper business. On Instagram, on Facebook, you may be a little quirky like Zomato, how Zomato does. Zomato's copywriting is amazing when it comes to their branding and marketing. So depending on the channel, so you may use your email marketing to announce new schemes. Anything, you make a transaction on your platform. The communication is sent through an email and not via LinkedIn message, correct? So you use the platforms available to the right channels to reach out to the right partners. So omni-channel marketing is very important. Each of these channels, they have their own purpose, and they can help you achieve higher brand awareness. So omni-channel marketing, so social media posts to share your firm's insights, your company's views, or to introduce your team or your management, the services that render in your particular company, which also is a great value for the HR to attract talent. So branding and marketing do not just constrain to a logo or a color. Understand that they are so much more than that, and they really help you shape a company. Moving on. Meeting customers where they are. This is very important for us to understand. So today, like I said, the way we interact, customers interact with the brands have really shifted. Like, consumers are very skeptical lately. The younger generations, they have higher expectations compared to what their parents had. So in a research which has been done by Go Banking Rates, it showed that 34% of Gen Z is people who are born between 97 and 2012. That is a very young generation of investors. They're learning personal finance through YouTube and TikTok. So people like me who fall in the middle range, I may think, why would anybody have TikTok? TikTok is just for dances and whatever people do, but you're wrong. You can find really, really good influencers on YouTube and TikTok where they give very solid advice on financial investments. They talk about crypto, they talk about mutual funds, they talk about stocks to invest, and how do you get the best returns. So having financial literacy is very important, especially in the younger generation. So how do we achieve this digital brand? So we are talking about how we have to do these ads, those ads, everything. But we cannot keep running like headless chicken. We need to have some science applied to it. So when I talk about being science applied to it, we have artificial intelligence, we have big data. I come from a IT engineering background, so I think I may explain this a little more technically. So when a consumer, when an investor visits your website or your platform, you have a Google tag, you have analytics being tracked, you can entirely map the journey of the investor, what tab he has clicked, how much time he has spent. So the entire life cycle can be tracked by these intelligent devices, intelligent platforms. So you take that, the insights, the marketing analytics that you receive, they should be utilized in a proper way. You should be able to map, if a consumer has come and he has searched for a personal loan, so you can automatically pass it on to your sales team and get those leads generated, which is very easy and which will reduce your marketing costs very much. And your sales cycle will be reduced by a lot of time. So using data analytics and artificial intelligence to actually make sense of the marketing analytics is a big, big necessity. We cannot just spend 20,000, 30,000 on Facebook ads and imagine that you're going to get so-and-so ROI on it. That's very foolish. We should be able to actually create all the analytics, have any analytics, even on your apps, you can have the analytics apps installed. And you should be able to map the entire life cycle or the journey of an investor. So, branding financial services takeout. What do we, at the end of the day, the machines, the artificial intelligence platforms, or the campaigns that we are discussing about, these are not your brand representatives. You are your own brand ambassador. More than your employees, I believe that your clients are your biggest brand icons. Why? So if I talk about my company, it's not a big deal. If someone, like a customer of mine, goes and tells that, okay, this app is really good, or this platform is very good, or this stock is performing really well, I would take the advice of a known person over a machine's advice. So at the end of the day, your brand should be spoken by your employees. They represent your brand, but more or less, your customers are the biggest brand icons for your brand. So for this, I'll cite a small example here. 2013, which was 10 years ago almost, I just recently started using online shopping apps, Amazon being its first. So I was in a big hurry and I wanted to buy some toothpaste, which was costing around 53 rupees, very precisely. I purchased it, and the platform, Amazon, it has offered me 2-day delivery. We didn't have Prime back then. So in 2 days, the item hasn't arrived, but on the 3rd day, in the morning first half itself, I received the item. But something happened which really changed my perspective of Amazon, which made me a very ardent consumer of Amazon products. They have given me 100 rupees voucher for the delay that they have caused. Because they did not stand by the timelines, they have given me 100 rupees voucher. It wasn't a big amount. But the way they have treated the customer, their customer who spent only 53 rupees, they have given a voucher more than the value of the product that I have purchased, which speaks volumes, which made me a loyal consumer of Amazon products. that platform. So customer service is really, really important. At the end of the day, you're trying to make a difference in the world by providing something that the customers need. So customer satisfaction should be your ultimate goal rather than making revenues or whatever that is. That should always be secondary. So with that, I would like to conclude this presentation. I think I have one more slide. No, thank you. So you've been a great audience. I'm happy to take any questions, any interactions you would like to have. I'm more than happy to accommodate. You've been a great audience. Thank you so much.